Hi guys, I hope this video finds you very well, very active and very happy. In last video, video number 5, we talked about the first two performance standards, managing the internal auditing activity and nature of work. Today in this video, we're going to talk about the remaining 4 performance standards. 2200, engagement planning, 2300, performing the engagement, 2400, communicating results or reporting, 2500, monitoring the program. Let's start with the first standard today, 2200, engagement planning. Internal auditors must develop and document a plan for each engagement, including the engagement's objectives, scope, timing, and resource allocation. So in the planning phase, you are required to set the objectives of the engagement and the scope of work. And then you have to determine who gonna do what within the time framework. The internal auditors plan and conduct the engagement with supervisory review and approval. So the planning phase must be reviewed and approved by the supervisor or the chief audit executive. Prior to start the engagement, internal auditors prepare the audit program. So what does it mean, audit program? And what are the main components of the auditing program? 2240, talking about engagement auditing program. The audit program should determine the objectives of the engagement. So in the auditing program, you have to set number of objectives for the engagement. For example, the objective of the current engagement is to make sure that the internal control system of inventory is effective and efficient. So this is your objective one of the objectives of the engagement. Internal auditors must develop and document the audit programs that achieve the engagement objectives. You have to set number of examinations, tests, and auditing procedures to make sure that the internal control system is working effective and efficient. Internal auditors develop and obtain documented approval of audit programs before commencing the internal audit engagement. So before you start the engagement, you have to take approval for the auditing program from the supervisor or the chief audit executive. The audit program should include methodologies to be used, such as technology-based audit and sampling techniques. You have to identify the technical requirements, potential risks, processes, and transactions that are to be examined. You have to state the nature and extent of testing required. Document the internal auditor's procedures for collecting, analyzing, interpreting, and documenting information during the engagement. You can modify the auditing program if required, as appropriate, during the engagement within the approval of the supervisor or the chief audit executive. So you can modify the auditing program during the work, but you need to take approval from the supervisor or the chief audit executive. Standard number 2300, performing the engagement. Internal auditors must document relevant information to support the conclusion and engagement results. So you have to support your opinion by documents, by evidence, as much as you can. Internal auditors must prepare working papers. These working papers document the information obtained, the analysis made, and the support for the conclusion and results. Engagement papers generally aid in the planning, performance, and review of the engagement. Provide the principal support for engagement results. So you can support your opinion, your conclusion by the working papers. Document whether engagement objectives were achieved. support the accuracy and completeness of the work performed, provide a basis for the internal audit activities, quality assurance and improvement program, facilitate third-party reviews. Standard number 2340, talking about the engagement supervision. Engagements must be properly supervised to ensure that objectives are achieved, quality is assured, and staff is developed. Standard 2400, talking about communicating results or reporting. Communications must include the engagement's objectives and scope of work, as well as applicable conclusions, recommendations, and action plans. So your report must include observations, implications, conclusion and recommendations, and action plan and time framework when you're gonna execute the recommendations of the engagement. Communications must be accurate, objective, clear, concise, constructive, complete, and on timely basis. The Chief Audit Executive must communicate results to the appropriate parties in the firm. Standard 2500, monitoring progress. The Chief Audit Executive must establish and maintain a system to monitor the disposition of results communicated to management. Also, the Chief Audit Executive must establish and maintain a system to follow up the progress of executing the recommendations of the internal auditing within the time framework. To effectively monitor the results, the Chief Audit Executive establishes procedures to include the following: the time framework within which engagements response to the engagement observations and recommendations, evaluation of management response, verification of the response, if appropriate, performance of the follow-up engagement, if appropriate, a communications process that escalates unsatisfactory response action, including the assumption of risk to the appropriate levels of senior management or the board of directors. Now we have one MCQ related to the topics of today. Please try to answer this MCQ and put your answer in the comments area down the video. Engagements must be properly supervised to ensure A, objectives are achieved, B, quality is assured, C, staff is developed, D, balance sheet is accurate. This is the end of today's video. Thank you so much, and bye-bye.